Hello everyone and welcome to another exciting episode of Battle of the Beasts. This is battle number 64 and today we have Hellion, the fiery foe, versus Balisk, the water snake. I'm your host Adam Ferns and I'll be the referee, the judge, jury and executioner of this battle. The referee won't be needed as it'll just be officiating the death of one of these beasts. The taller one out of these two is Balisk. If Balisk loses, Series 8 will be out of this tournament for good. If Hellion loses, not much would happen because Hellion would just be the second beast to be eliminated in Series 7. Balisk would just be the fifth. No, sorry, the sixth. See? Series 8, Balisk, lasts the longest. I knew it. See? I knew it. So Balisk was the slayer of Solak and Naga in round 1 and 2. Hellion was the slayer of Rashuk in round 1 and Hexen in round 2. So, not exactly menacing beasts that any of them killed. The most menacing out of the ones that both of them killed, Balisk was with killing Naga. And Hellion's most threatening beast was probably Hexen, but Hellion's battles are probably dead easy. This one's going to be a bit harder now. So with this, for the arena, I think I'm going to go with a rocky terrain with a couple of water spots. So, I'm thinking probably like the Hunger Games arena in Catching Fire, where it has a bunch of land in it, so rocky areas where Hellion will be able to run from side to side everywhere around it, just throwing boulders or everything. Balisk is able to swim underneath to catch Hellion off guard. That's the best I can do. 50-50 with rock and water. So let's get right into this. So, as both beasts exit their chambers, Balisk leaps out through the sky door, being agile enough, and dives straight into the water. Hellion bursts out as a big fireball, rolling straight towards the centre of the arena, ready to find Balisk, but he can't seem to find Balisk. Hellion then looks over to see what looks like Balisk, which is Balisk, flying out of the water and staying in midair. Hellion starts throwing fireballs directly towards Balisk and picking up rocks, slicing them on fire and chucking them at Balisk. Balisk is swiftly dodging them, but what Hellion doesn't know is that that's just a clone of Balisk, and the real Balisk is actually underneath Hellion, going behind him, appearing out of the water, ready to just bite down. But Hellion turns around just to see another Balisk after the flying one got hit in the head and fell down into the water, never to be seen again. Balisk used his tail to just whip some water on top of Hellion, and it hits, just caused him to go a bit dimmer. But with the rage that Hellion's building up inside him, he just starts combusting as more powerful as he ever was, being on fire, so more powerful fire, let's say. Hellion then gets a fireball, the biggest one he can make, and chucks it straight towards Balisk. Balisk is able to dodge it swiftly and goes back underneath the water, leaving a big splash. Some getting on the floor and some landing on Hellion, but barely hitting him. Whilst Balisk is trying to find a new route of attack, Hellion picks up a very big boulder, lights it on fire, and is waiting for his his opponent to arise. Balisk pokes his head out the water to see Hellion, ready to chuck a boulder at him, and as soon as he does that, Balisk ducks down just in time to avoid it, and does what is called a risky move by going from one side of the arena to above the small island that Hellion is on to the other. Balisk then jumps out of the water, going completely over Hellion, and then goes straight back into the water, just as the reason he done that was to get a few droplets of water on Hellion, just cause him to be a bit extinguished. Balisk sticks his head out the water and using his tail just splashes a big tidal wave of water going on top of Hellion. Hellion's able to just barely dodge that and go behind a rock, protecting most of the water. Balisk decides to get rid of the rock by using his tail to smash the rock, causing some of the rock bits to go into Hellion's face, causing him to move back, standing up. Balisk then gets his tail again and causes another tidal wave or big splash to go over Hellion. This time with nowhere to hide, Hellion takes it and his fire gets completely extinguished. He is very wet now. What Hellion does is that he tries to conjure up a fireball but can barely get a spark out of himself. Balisk grins knowing that Hellion's now weak, and using all the power Balisk has, he dives out of the water, landing directly on top of Hellion, wrapping his body around him and just nuzzling his fins straight into Hellion's very skinny, extinguished body, cutting Hellion very deeply in. Hellion's using his arms to just try and move Balisk off, but it's not working. He then tries kicking, punching, pulling Balisk off as much as he can. Balisk then gets his head and puts it over Hellion's head and bites down, pulling as hard as he can whilst pulling on the body as well. Hellion, still having a bit of fight left in him, keeps trying to punch Balisk for all he can, until with his hands he manages to sort of guide himself to what looks like Balisk's fins. He then grabs him with all his might, ignoring the pain from the bone that's in the fin, stabbing him, and breaks the fins straight off. Balisk immediately lets go of Hellion, who has a couple bite marks in it, but not anything too fatal, and lets out a big gasp of pain. Balisk is now struggling to breathe, so what Balisk does is that he lets go of Hellion and goes back into the water to get his breath back. That gives Hellion enough time to get back up, still not able to reignite himself as he's just being smothered by a wet beast, meaning he can't ignite himself. And whilst he's looking around for Hellion, whilst Hellion's looking around for Balisk, he has a bunch of rocks ready to chuck at him. Balisk sneaks up behind Hellion and with his tail just sneakily wraps it round Hellion's leg and pulls, causing Hellion to fall over face first. And what Balisk does is that he starts swimming away, pulling Hellion into the water. Hellion fights with all his might, wrapping his arms around a rock that it seems to be very sturdy, preventing himself from moving. Balisk keeps pulling with all his might, and Balisk is actually the stronger one here, considering that he's not as injured and Hellion is stronger in his fiery form. So Balisk pulls hard enough whilst Hellion's fighting back, and Balisk pulls so hard that Hellion's arms come right off. Hellion then gets dragged into the water for Balisk to turn around and see Hellion struggling to stay afloat and is gradually sinking. Balisk lets go of Hellion's leg and just pokes his head out the water and dives face first into Hellion, putting his head and body into his mouth, biting down, breaking it clean in half, as Hellion's legs sink down to the bottom of the arena. Balisk then retreats back to his chamber, ready for the next battle. Hellion has lost this battle. Balisk has won, rather obviously, but at least Hellion gave as much of a fight he could. If you think Balisk should have lost and Hellion should have won, please leave in the comments below why and how you think that. Unfortunately, what I say is final, and that is all for this battle. Join me for the next battle, where it'll be episode number 65, I think. Yeah, 65. Where we'll have Tusk, the mighty mammoth, go against Elik, the lightning horror. Till then, that's all for this time. If you liked what you saw, leave a like, leave a comment, don't forget to subscribe, press the notification bell down in the corner below, and I'll see you next time.